Spawn enemy waves using the show hide module. Before we get to building a waves, we're going to go over here and I'm going to show you how to set up the show hide module with a single unit and a group. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose the contact platform. I'm going to collapse this. We're going to go to NATO, woodland, and then men. Then we're going to put down a rifleman, place him right about here, face him that direction. Close this, and then we're going to go to independent, collapse this. We're going to go to looters, then men, and then looter with a shotgun. We're going to place this guy right about here, face him this direction. Then we're going to give him a waypoint, just a move waypoint, and that's it. Now normally, when you start your mission, this guy will be right here and will move to the waypoint. Let's get to the show hide module. So what we do is we go to F5 systems, and then we go down to where it says object modifiers, and then to the second one at the bottom is the show hide module. So you click on that, and let's just place it in front of our looter guy, and let's go over the module. So double click the module, and the only thing you need to worry about is these two settings right here. So you have apply to and you have action. So apply to, you have synchronized objects only, group of objects, synchronized objects, and objects in synchronized trigger. Now since we only have one unit that we want to hide, we're going to set it to synchronized objects only. And then you have the action, which is hide units, and then show units. We want to hide units, so just hit OK. And what you need to do is you would sync that to this guy. But before we do that, we're going to place another module. So we're going to copy this module, press Ctrl V and paste it over here. And then we're going to edit it. So now you see it says synchronized objects only. For the action, we're going to have show units. We're going to set it to show units. Then we're going to hit OK. We're going to highlight both of these, right click, and then go to sync to, and you're going to basically sync that to the unit. So we have hide units, and we have show units. So when the mission starts, this module is going to hide the unit, and then that's it. Nothing's going to happen. What you need to do for this unit to be shown, or spawn, in other words, is you're going to need a trigger to trigger this module to show this unit and follow his waypoint. So we're going to go to triggers, place a trigger without a size. We're going to place it right about here, and we're going to just expand it a little bit, and we're going to make this square, and we're going to set the activation to blue 4 present because we're at blue 4. We'll just hit OK. So let's adjust this trigger a little bit, and let's expand it so that we actually get into it. Alright, so now that we have our trigger, what you're going to do is you're going to right click the trigger, you're going to go to connect, and then sync to, and you're going to sync to the show part of the module. So we know this is the hide module, this is the show units module. So what's going to happen is when I enter the trigger, this is going to open this or unlock it, and it's going to show the unit, and the unit's going to follow its waypoint. Alright, let's try that out. Alright, as you can see, there is no unit there. So if we walk forward into our trigger, the unit appears, he moves to his waypoint, and there he is. How do we do this for groups? Well, for groups, it's the same thing except just a different setting. So we'll just keep this as it is, and for groups we'll go to groups, and let's use the contact platform. And let's put down a fire team. Place these guys right about here. And let's just have them like that. So for groups, what you need to do is, yes, you need to connect these two. So we'll connect them. Sync it to the group leader. But then you need to update the module. So we'll go to this module. You need to change this to groups of synchronized objects, as it's a group now. So just hit OK, and same with this one. Set it to groups. Just hit OK, and that's it. That's all you need to do. So now when I start the mission, the group won't be there. But when I enter the trigger, the group is shown. Alright, so now that you have the idea how that works, what we're going to do is just basically delete these guys. Alright, let's start with the waves. We're going to go over here for that. And we're going to go to props, and then we're going to type in tower in the search box. We're going to collapse this, then we're going to go to structures and then military for Livonia, and we're going to place down a control tower and face it this direction. And its control tower is going to be where the player will stand on. Then we're going to go to units and again put this on the contact platform, collapse this. We can go to NATO, Woodland, then men. We're going to choose an officer, and we're going to place the officer right here for the moment. We're going to edit his loadout and give him some binoculars, which I don't understand why he doesn't as an officer, but whatever. And we're going to put him up in the tower, and that's it for him. Next, we're going to start this with a trigger, and trigger without a size, and we're going to place it right next to the tower. We're going to edit the trigger. We're going to set the activation of this trigger to radio alpha. This is not going to be repeatable, and we're going to give this a hint. So hint space quote start the waves. When I trigger this trigger, it'll say, a hint will pop up and say start the waves. At the top here, we will put a text attack waves, and that's it. Alright, that sets up our trigger. That's all we're going to do with that for the moment. Next, we're going to go to groups and then independent. I'm going to collapse this, and we're going to put a group of looters down. So we're going to start with a criminal gang, and we're going to put them right about here, face them this direction. Then we're going to give them a waypoint, which is going to be up by the tower. This waypoint is going to be seek and destroy, and then after that we're going to choose another group, and we're going to choose the LDF group. We're going to choose a fire team. Place them right about here. Give each one of these waypoints, seek and destroy, and then we're going to choose another squad. We're going to choose a rifle squad this time. I'm going to put these guys right back here, face them this direction, and we're going to also give these guys a waypoint of seek and destroy. And then we're going to place another squad. We're going to go to the FIA Infantry Assault Squad. We're going to place them back here, face in this direction. And also, since we're far out, better to use the 2D map. Also give them a seek and destroy waypoint. Then we're going to go to the AAF. And we're going to place down a mechanized infantry squad. This will be mechanized rifle squad. We're going to place them down here. Face them in this direction. And we're also going to give them a seek and destroy waypoint. And then we're going to place down one more squad. This is going to be, we're going to choose a tank platoon combined, place them right about here, face them this direction, and we're going to go to the map again and give them a seek and destroy waypoint. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 waves. What we need to do now is we're going to go to triggers, and we're going to choose a trigger with a size and place it right about here, and we're going to edit it, make it a square, and while we're in the trigger, we're going to set the activation of this to independent present, and in the on activation box we're going to put a hint space quote wave 2 is incoming, exclamation point, end quote, and then semicolon. And in the text, we're going to put wave 2. Then we're going to resize this. Doesn't need to be real huge. And we'll turn it a little bit like that. And we're going to put it halfway in between where the player's at and halfway in between where the first squad is at. Now, obviously, this is wave 1. This is wave 2. We're going to actually make these guys just a little bit closer. That's about it. So we're going to expand this a lot more so that it's wide enough, and that's about all we need to do. Alright, so that sets up our first trigger. We're going to copy this trigger, press Ctrl C, and we're going to paste this guy right here, and we're going to make this say wave 3 incoming, and we're going to paste the next one right about here. This is going to be wave 4. The next wave will be pasted here. This will be wave 5. And wave 5. This will be wave 6. And this last one won't get a trigger. Alright, so that sets up our triggers. Next, we're going to go to F5 Systems and to Object Modifiers, and we're going to go down to where it says Show Hide. And we're going to place 2 modules. So the one module is the Show Hide module. We're going to copy that, press Ctrl C, and press Ctrl V. We're actually going to put these in front of the squads, the first squad. We're going to sync these to the first wave, and on the left we're going to have the units hidden. So right now this is set to groups of synchronized units, which is what we want because they are a group. This action will hide the units, and this action will show the units. Alright, so we're going to copy these as they are, press Ctrl C, and we're going to paste these guys right here. And while they're highlighted, you can see them highlighted here in the entities panel. You're going to connect and then sync them to the next wave. And we're going to go down here, do the same here. Sync this to these guys. And then we're going to go here. Sync these to these guys. And yep, I'm going to go here, sync these to the vehicle, and the last one's going to be right here, and sync that to these guys. Alright, so next we're going to sync this Show Units module to the player's trigger. And then we're going to sync this trigger to the show module of the next wave. I'm going to do the same for this trigger. And we're going to do the next thing for this trigger. And we're going to sync this one to the next wave. And sync this wave. And since this guy doesn't have a trigger, he's going to be the last wave. Let's go to markers, and we're going to put a flag marker, and we're going to place it by the trigger. We're going to give it a color of red. And we're just going to copy the marker. The marker is just going to tell us where these waves are at in terms of the trigger. So that's all that's for. That's not going to have any function whatsoever other than telling us when each wave enters their respective triggers. This guy won't have a trigger, so that's all we need to do. The way this works is the player will initiate the waves through his radio trigger, which will only happen once. This will show these guys will move, enter the trigger. When they enter this trigger independent present, so basically when they're present, they're going to trigger the next module to show these guys. These guys will then move following their waypoint, go through this trigger, which will unlock the show units for this group, and these guys are going to end up going through this trigger, which will unlock this group, and these guys will follow their waypoint, go through this trigger, which will unlock this group, and these guys will do the same thing, and so forth. And that's how that's going to work. Just keep in mind that these groups, when they're hidden, if we take a look at the module itself, and under the module info, it says at the bottom, show hide sync objects. They will become invisible and their simulation will be disabled. What that means is, as we know, this group will be hidden. They will be invisible. You won't see them. We know this. Their simulation will be disabled, which means they will be in place, but they won't move. They won't respond. They won't respond to any stimulus or anything. If you actually open up one of these units and you go to special states and you go to where it says enable simulation, it will say when disabled, the object will freeze and ignore any input or collisions. So that's basically what it does. We're going to save our mission. We're going to put this on Livonia, and we're going to name this show hide underscore waves. Alright, that saves our mission. Let's test it out. Alright, as you can see, there is nothing on the map other than the markers that we placed. And here is our radio attack waves. Let's initiate it. So start the waves. We got our hint at the top right. And let's go to spectator and watch this in a better view. Wave 2 is incoming. So this is the first wave. Here's wave 2. They're going to enter the trigger. Wave 3 incoming, which spawns the next group. They spawn the next group. They just went through their trigger. Then you got these guys. And once they get to this trigger here, which I don't know why they went that way, but whatever. They still spawn the next wave. Wave 6 incoming. Alright guys, hope you found that useful, and there's a lot of things you could do with this show hide module, like call for reinforcements or have enemies spawn in different spots. Like you can go to different areas of the map, and let's say this whole map was the AO. So wherever you went and you walked into a trigger, there would be a group of enemy that spawned somewhere that followed the waypoint, and somehow you ran into them, or they would just be in a waypoint type of patrol, or you could use codes, you could use scripts. There's a lot of stuff that you could do with the show hide module depending on how you want to use it. So this is a simple way to set up waves with the show hide module. The show hide is kind of simulating like the enemy units are spawning in, even though they're not, they're actually already there. So there's no codes, no scripts or anything involved. You're just using the base game module. I want to thank you for watching. For more tutorials, take a look at this playlist.